head of Diasporal and Transnational Studies, University of Ibadan, Senayan Olaoluwa, said the relationship between Nigeria and other countries will go a long way in improving the state of the nation. He further urged the federal government to initiate policies that will make the research institute a world-class center.
We are ahead of the times, and we have come to the realization in the University of Ibadan that the 21st century will be driven by diaspora dynamics and resources. And that is why the university has taken this giant step to have the program established. It is a postgraduate program where we run degrees in masters, masters of philosophy and PhD.
The visitor and his host were unanimous in their belief that the relevance of any nation in this century in the areas of intergovernmental activities greatly depends on how diasporal policies are connected with the outside world and the need to tap on the sector of the nation's foreign operations. Chidima Chukwu, LTV News, Abuja.
The federal government is collaborating with countries that made up the Lake Chad Basin to address the adverse effects of Boko Haram insurgency on the population. Addressing stakeholders at a 3-day regional protection dialogue on the Lake Chad Basin, the Minister of Interior, Lieutenant General Abdulrahman Dambazo, expressed government's commitment to supporting the return of internally displaced persons and refugees to their homes. Represented by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, Mr. Basi Akbayong, Dambazo said plans are ongoing to reestablish civil authority in the liberated areas to free the engaged military personnel.
The Ministry of Interior, working in close collaboration with relevant federal government institutions, is currently in the process of re-establishing civil authority in the liberated areas to free more military personnel to engage the insurgent group.
The minister noted that the tripartite agreement between Nigeria, Cameroon, and United Nations will serve as a mechanism for safe return of IDPs in compliance with international standards and best practices.
Significant degradation of the potency of the insurgent group by the multinational joint task force came with attendant social and humanitarian challenges, particularly the emergence of refugee camps for displaced Nigerians in neighboring countries.
The United Nations High Commission for Refugees Regional Representatives for West Africa, Mrs. Liz Ahua, said over 60% of affected persons in the Lake Chad basins are children.
The Lake Chad Basin today faces a fundamental protection crisis here in Nigeria and across the neighboring states. The Boko Haram insurgency and its spillover into Cameroon, into Niger and Chad has led to the loss of thousands of lives, has caused a massive displacement of over 2.7 million people in the region, and has impacted the lives of more than 20 million persons in the 4 countries.
Participants at the 3-day dialogue include government officials from Nigeria, Chad, Cameroon, and Niger, and other stakeholders. James Agbo, LTV News, Abuja.
Welcome back to the Center of Excellence, and you're still watching the news at 8 on Lagos Television. Here's a quick reminder of our top stories. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has met with 6 governors from Niger Delta region over violence in the region. Minister of Transportation Rotimi Amechi has assured Nigerians of federal government's commitment to revamping the sector. And still to come, telecommunications operators oppose tax bill under consideration in the National Assembly.
Uncle, I noticed that whenever we buy the BRT bus, your friend usually don't pay.
It is part of the true change Lagos State government promised us. It is what people with disability are enjoying.
So does this mean everyone with disability in Lagos will buy a BRT bus without paying?
Yes, but only after the person with disability must have registered with the Lagos State government under LASODA.
So is it just for BRT buses alone, or does it apply with other services?
Of course, there are other benefits such as loans through the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund provided by Lagos State government for its citizens, and other benefits in accordance with the Lagos State Special People's Law.
Wow! So where can one get registered?
Interested persons can simply go to the Lagos State Office for Disability Affairs, Alausa Secretariat Ikeja, pick a form, or visit the website at www.lasoda.org.ng. Download the form, ensure you give your form to a resident doctor of a government hospital to sign before submission. LASODA has made life easy for people with disability. Let's cooperate with the Lagos State government to spread the word.
Makers every Wednesday 6:30 to 7 p.m. on Lagos Television. Join us.
Thanks for staying tuned. As part of Governor Akinwumi Ambode's move to standardize primary health care and make it accessible to people at the grassroots, Special Advisor to the Governor on Primary Health Care, Dr. Olufemi Ononuga, has paid unscheduled visits to the primary health centers in Ekpe and Ibeju to assess the facilities. The on-the-spot assessment takes into cognizance performance of the workers, challenges, and the way forward. LTV News correspondent Aminat Elegoshe has details in this report.
The monitoring team led by the Special Advisor on Primary Health Care, Dr. Olufemi Ononuga, visited Ekpe, Eredo, Odomola, Afuye, Mojoda, and Ibejo primary health centers to assess workers' activities and ensure proper utilization of facilities. Dr. Ononuga expressed satisfaction with the level of progress at the PHCs.
The governor himself worked in the local government for 14 years, so he knows what it takes to have a working primary health care system. He was part of it in the past. He knew how it was working. So now that he says, this is my policy, we must execute it. The MOHs, the executive secretaries, the nurses, the pharmacists, the CHOs, all of us must execute that is policy, because he's somebody that has interest in making sure that he satisfies the yearnings of the people, he satisfies, he renders health services to the people.
Health workers appeal to the government to urge executive secretaries to support PHCs in their local government.
Part of what we intend to do right now is to ensure the maximum utilization of this PHC by ensuring that there is drug availability. And what we intend to do is to replicate a template which the Lagos State government did in Eredo Flagship Center.
The SA has spoken with the AS today, and he has promised to give us impress, which I believe, and also facilitate the posting of the health attendants that were posted and didn't come. So if those ones are put in place, I believe there will be changes.
Dr. Ononuga said evaluation will be carried out after the monitoring to fix the shortcomings in the PHCs. The SA and his team had visited over 90 of the 276 primary health centers in the state. Aminat Elegushi, LTV News.
The Kogi State Governorship Election Petitions Tribunal sitting in Abuja has dismissed the petition by the People's Democratic Party and its candidate in last year's governorship election in the state, Idris Wada, challenging the election of the incumbent governor, Yahaya Bello. The Justice Halima Muhammad-led three-man panel held in its judgment that the petition jointly filed by Wada as running mate Sandy Awoniyi and their party, the PDP, lacked merit. The tribunal had earlier in the judgment struck out the petition while upholding the notice of preliminary objection raised by Bello, his party, the All Progressives Congress, and the Independent National Electoral Commission against the petition, but still went ahead to determine it on its merit. It held in its pronouncement on the respondent's preliminary objection that the petitioners lacked local standard to challenge the nomination of Bello as the APC candidate in the election. The tribunal held that even if it was wrong to strike out the petition at the preliminary stage, there was no merit in the entire petition supporting its grounds and the prayers sought. The Code of Conduct Tribunal has adjourned the trial of the Senate President Bukola Saraki to June 15. According to the chairman of the tribunal, Justice Danladi Umar, cross-examination of the EFCC witness by the Defense Counsel will continue at the adjourned date. Correspondent Chuks Ukwatu files in the detailed report of today's proceedings. Here's his report.
As the trial of the Senate President Bukola Saraki continues at the Code of Conduct Tribunal, the tribunal chairman, Justice Danladi Umar, has assured all parties of fair judgment. Justice Umar, however, faulted the alleged delay tactics by the defense team as raised by the prosecution counsel Rotimi Jacobs, saying the consequence of the trial and the charges will in no way be reduced on the accused person by the tribunal. Umar, who spoke before the defense counsel Paul Osoro, cross-examined the prosecution witness Michael Wetkas, warned that the charade will not help both parties. Meanwhile, the lead counsel to Senator Bukola Saraki, Kanu Agabi, expressed reservation at the comments of the tribunal chairman, especially as related to the consequence of the trial. Agabi cautioned the tribunal against influence from outside forces, adding that the defense team is against assumed prejudices. Under cross-examination by Saraki's lawyer, Paul Osoro, the EFCC witness Michael Wetkas told the tribunal that the Senate President was never investigated by the anti-graft agency on the ownership of two properties in Abuja. Counsel to both parties threw more light on the outcome of the day's proceedings.
The proceedings not going on as expected. One would not expect one witness to be cross-examined for 9 days, and then you are still adjourning for the next day, for other days. So we are complaining that the defense should sit up and conclude their cross-examination.
For you, as a fair-minded Nigerian, don't you think it is only right that if they are accusing somebody of committing crimes, that he should have all the time that he can defend himself? I think any fair-minded Nigerian would agree that it is only right that the person should have the time and he should be able to cross-examine the witness in regard to those things that they have said.
Further cross-examination of the witness has been adjourned till June 15. Chuks Ukwatu, LTV News, Abuja.
And the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has ordered that Mr. Zibola Roberts, a cousin to former President Goodluck Jonathan, be remanded in Kuje prisons pending the determination of his bail application. Zibola and his wife, Stella, were arraigned before Justice Nnamdi Dingba for allegedly receiving a $40 million contract from embattled former National Security Advisor, Sambo Dasuki. The couple, alongside their company, OnePlus Holding Limited, were arraigned on 7 counts bordering on money laundering and fraud. How the court ruled that Stella could continue to enjoy the administrative bail earlier granted by the EFCC, the judge adjourned till Wednesday to rule on the bail application for Zibola. And next we take on business and economic news with Bukola Akinkolusho. Please stay tuned.
Dear Lagosians, the rains are here again. The Lagos State government is concerned about your safety as a Lagosian during this season and therefore appeals to everyone to desist from dumping refuse in drains, gutters and manholes. Stop constructing houses and shops that block the natural flow of water. Flooding is dangerous as it can lead to massive disruption of human activities and even lead to loss of lives and properties. As a committed and responsive government, Governor Ambode's administration enjoins everyone to take all necessary precautions for a flood-free season. Patronize Loma or PSP operators in your area and ensure proper bagging of waste. Report violators to Lagos State Ministry of the Environment, Block 16, the Secretariat, Alausa, Ikeja, or call 0903-897-5220, 0909-531-1464. Let's work together to make Lagos clean, safe, and flood-free. Itesiwaju Ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó ló jẹ́ wá lógún. This message is from Lagos State Ministry of Information and Strategy.
Good evening and welcome to Business and Economic News. The acting president, Yemi Osinbajo, has inaugurated a presidential committee and task force to boost rice and wheat production in the country. This was disclosed to State House correspondents by Kebbi State Governor Atiku Bagudu at the end of the meeting with the vice president. He said the vice president has invited few state governors and the Minister of State for Agriculture, the president of Wheat Farmers Association, and president of the Rice Farmers Association for strategies to boost production. He was optimistic that the country will become self-sufficient in the two items with current efforts in place. Telecommunications operators in the country have opposed to a bill in the National Assembly seeking to introduce a new communication tax on 9%. The Association of Licensed Telecommunications Operators of Nigeria, in a meeting with the Minister of Communications, said such tax will be passed on to subscribers who are already bearing a burden of 5% value-added tax on telecommunication services. Also, the operators, through the chairman, Mr. Gbenga Adebayo, said another bill intended to reduce the high incidence